in another episode of Learning German Cars with Rockstar Garage. W210 wagon, rear hydraulic suspension, SLS accumulator replacement. I didn't see a whole lot of videos out there on this. I mean, there are videos on accumulators, but it wasn't on this platform. A lot of the ones I found were actually on the front. I was a little surprised FCP didn't make one. So this is for the rears. Car has 150,000 miles. I have it lowered and everything else. I have this. I finally found the. What's it called? The leveling arm at the junkyard. I was able to get that, so it sits nicely, but definitely bottoms out when you hit stuff. So I know the accumulators. I had one time hit the bleeder. I opened the bleeder just to see, and it was foamy, and they say that if it's foamy, it's because the nitrogen has made, it's leaked past the diaphragms. So definitely needed to be done. So I figured, well, it's a good start. And I think when it's trying to self-level itself, those bubbles make their way up to the proportioning valve, which is the leveling valve. It's all hydraulically driven, so none of it's electric. And there was a point where it felt like it wasn't adjusting until I went under the car and raised the pump, made it run for a while, then it started to. So I surmised that the accumulators are busted. We'll start with that one. Here, take a look. So on the wagons, or at least on this platform, they're very accessible. 17, and this is a Florida only car, I believe. So I sprayed it with some yield penetrating fluid, and then did 17 on this, 11 on the side. Got a catch can, or a whatever, not a catch can, but a pan. And I was wondering, FCP sells a kit which is the accumulators, a filter, and about 1 liter of fluid, which I don't think 1 liter is enough to flush the entire system. But yeah, the fluid, aside from the bubbles, the fluid's not horrible. It doesn't stink. It's a dual purpose pump, so it actually runs off of the steering pump. Anyway, let me get it swapped out and I'll show you guys. Okay, I think I might have heard mention of the exhaust. So reach up, grab the hanger, pop it off, and it drops down just enough to let it squeeze past. There you go. She out. Okay, just for solidarity's sake, here's passenger side. Same thing. 11, 17, 310s. Swap it out. Now the only final thing I'm not positive about, so it leaked out. I see why they give you that amount of fluid, right? Because there's when that diaphragm internally busts, it definitely puts the nitrogen into the system, which is that, see that foaminess? That's the foam. So I'm assuming that collects at the proportioning valve, and that affects the ability to self-level. So they do send you, with the kit of the 2 from FCP, they send you the two accumulators, a filter, and about 1 liter of the very specific, Mercedes unicorn poop fluid. So that's what we're gonna use, obviously, but they only send 1 liter. I think you need more to do a full flush. So what I'm thinking is we do this. Obviously you're putting in an empty accumulator, so it'll have to fill itself, but with the way that normally a power steering system works, it kind of self-bleeds itself when you cut the wheel left and right, kind of get it pumping, whatever. So I think you should do that, and I'll probably do that. And then there's a bleeder valve on the proportioning valve. I'll probably open that until fluid comes out, because that would mean it probably released all of the bubbles. I'm guessing that's how it needs to be done. So we shall see. Okay, last piece of the puzzle, I think, is the bleeder on the leveling valve. So found that I was missing the thing in between. I wonder if it's because it stopped leveling that the person removed it and just leave it set stagnant, but it's kind of weird to give up on such cool technology. So I have it set pretty much as low as it'll go. I had even twisted the bar to put it at a lower setting, but I don't know. I don't need to tuck the rear tires. I like how it rides on air. So here's the bleeder. So I'm guessing you turn it on. Obviously make sure there's fluid up front, top it off, whatever. and then replace the filter. What I plan to do is do that, and then I'm going to open this valve while it's running. Actually, I don't know yet. I might just crack it now to see what happens. See if air comes out or if fluid comes out. And then I'll capture that, and then I will swap out the filter and the fluid up front in the reservoir. And then if that doesn't get the job done, or I don't know. I mean, it's hard to gauge, I guess, whether or not it self-levels. I can pull this off and then manually lift it up to see, you know. Let me grab my 10, actually. Yeah, I'll do that. So I'll lift it up to see if it fills up immediately and if we're good to go. Okay, just a quick little, as it was not very obvious, but there's a little hook on this, and it runs through the filter, obviously old and new, and then it hooks into the top. So you basically put it in, twist it, and it'll hold the filter. Okay, because the level is so high, I'm not going to top it off just yet. I'm going to try bleeding it a little bit first. So I have the bleeder screw actually open in the back. I'm trying to think of the best approach here. Should I just turn it on, cut the wheel, cut back and forth a couple times, see if it squirts the air out? Yeah, that's what I'll do. Well, if you're gonna do that, make sure your drain pan is behind it and not just under it, because once it shoots under pressure, it shoots pretty hard. So, top the fluid off. It's back to the max line. Took almost the whole liter because I'm stupid and I pumped a bunch out. Anyway, all right, so let's do this. So I closed the valve now. I mean, I guess in retrospect that means that I bled it out pretty good all over, you know, the driveway, which is pretty sweet. So new filter. The steering always feels real nice in this thing, so let's build up some pressure. I closed the valve, so there shouldn't be any more shooting. So in retrospect, the way to do this would be on, pumping, and then crack the line just to bleed the air out of it like you normally would, like a regular human being. Oh yeah, I had to switch to the old cardboard mat. Just make sure I closed it properly. Let's see, I oriented the right way. I also dropped the light in the freaking fluid, which is awesome. All right, here's the nut. Let's just make sure it's not leaking. At least I don't think it is. Let me grab the 11. Here, let me pause. And now, the final piece of the puzzle is, I took off this 10, removed the leveling, the fixed point, right? Can you see that? Yeah, you can. So I'm gonna raise the car up slightly. There it goes. Yep. It raised it. Now I want it at this point, which is the lowest point. So see, there's a nut. See right there. Alright, this video is getting shitty, so let's cut it. So I'll tighten that up, but it is working. So we're good. Accumulator done.